Hello there, lovely people. It is one of your favorite teen services people, Nina, checking in live and in living color. Fresh with a new program today for Fangirl Crafts. Get excited. So thank you so much for joining me. Since it was such a beautiful day, there have been such beautiful vibes. I wanted to make sure that I carried that out this afternoon in my craft for the day by combining two of my favorite things that are part of my self-care routine. And if they're not part of yours already, maybe they will be. Good old cartoons and candy. Okay, so we are going to make some cartoon creations and we're going to use candy to do it. Is that great? I mean, like, hey, I was so excited. So, of course, it's fun. It's very therapeutic. It's kind of like working with clay, but you get it warm and malleable. And then, you know what? It's a way of relaxing and then kind of combining those two loves. So, this cartoon character that I am going to attempt to make in the candy realm is one that surpasses like decades, okay? Our grandparents may very well know who he is. Whether you're a literary fan, whether you've watched the cartoon, whether you've gotten I'm just gonna say he's a very recognizable character. Have you guessed? If not, it's okay. Let me give you a little sneak peek here. Who is that? Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. Yes, Winnie the Pooh. So happy, so lighthearted. I was like, you know what? Why not try to make him in candy? So that is what we're going to do today. I currently have, I use maybe 2 packs of Starburst just so that way you have enough color to be able to do what you want to do. And you're not limited to good old Winnie the Pooh. Anybody that any character, really, you find you a nice little picture online. Why not try to create it? That's what I did today, okay? So I have some water because your fingers may get a little sticky from trying to warm up the Starburst so that you can shape them. But it's fun, it's so cute, and it's edible. So you win it all the way around, right? So let me show you what to do. Alrighty, so like I mentioned before, your body heat will definitely get those fruit chews to melting so you can form them how you need to create your character. Right now, I am getting Pooh's arms together. I think I have his legs already set. But going off of that, let's try and work it out a little bit. Yes, there we go. We got his little chunky arm. And trying to, I like them to be very symmetrical. I'm a perfectionist like that, so don't mind me. But this is so therapeutic, but then it's fun. And I was like, even though this is so relaxing and it's cute and everything, I'm really anticipating getting to eat him after this. So yeah, okay, we got that. Let me dip my fingers in my water. Just got a nice little slate to work with. Okay, so I have his little tummy, and I'm gonna put together his shirt and his body there. Kind of squish them together. There we go. I know he's nice and round, so try to smell these together. As you see here. Okay, got his tummy. Get yeah, there we go. He's coming along, and then wanted to Have his little sleeves. There we go. So yes, it looks like his little iconic little shirt. Got that going. Yeah, see, it's coming along, and it doesn't take long at all, you guys. Look at that. Okay, we getting there. We are getting there. Very good. Good old Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. I'm going to put his head right on top. There we go. Look, he's coming along. Yay. Okay. And it doesn't matter how good your art is. If you're not a very artsy person, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I know I'm definitely not. But you know what? I'm having a good time putting it together nonetheless. There we go. And who knows? This might be something you can give to a friend for a little just because gift, or you want to make somebody. You can make these for any reason. Shoot, that's how I see it. There we go. So you can sit. There we go. We got his little arms. Let's get that together. Oh, Pooh is coming along, y'all. It's coming along. All right. Make his head a little bigger, so you just smush it out a little. There we go. Look at Pooh. Okay, so I have a hairpin that hasn't been used. It's cleaned, sanitized. So you can make them some little eyes. And if you have some food coloring, like, you can totally do the nose. And if you have some, look at that. Got your Winnie the Pooh. Isn't it cute? And it's going to be tasty. There we go. Okie dokie, here's my finished product. Good old Winnie the Pooh. He's not perfect, but you can tell who he is, and it made me happy, and he's going to be delicious. Little lemon and cherry action happening here. But I hope that you have enjoyed watching me make this as much as I have had fun recording it. And why not try it at home and show us, tag us in your creations. Okay? So, till next time, toodles.
Hello and welcome back to Comic Creations. Today we'll be making a collage comic. First, you're going to need some reference materials. I grabbed some comics, but you can use magazines or photographs, whatever you have. I went through the comics that I picked and grabbed as many of the same characters as I could. Then I cut those out. The idea is that I will use these characters in conversation together in the comic. Once those are all cut out, they look like this. I then found another piece of reference material that I cut out the backgrounds. I arranged these in a way to frame the comic that I'm making. I don't have much of a plan. I just kind of put the figures in shapes that would make them in conversation together. Then I go through another reference and grab some speech bubbles. This is the fun part because I just kind of arranged the speech bubbles in a way that would be fun. And really, that's all you have to do. Just take the different pieces and collage them together. And then you have a narrative, a comic. You've done it. Great job.
Hello, this is Ms Shelly with the National Public Library Bordeaux branch, and I'm back again with Ms Shelly's Hoopla Pick, Fandom Edition. Alright, so for the last few weeks I've been doing comic books and all that fun stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But I thought I would jazz it up just a little bit. So I decided to do feature films that would be very entertaining for us all, right? Because, fandom includes a lot of things. And so I'm not a horror movie person, so I decided to do suspense thrillers. I love a good suspense thriller. I just don't like horror too much. But I will watch a suspense thriller movie. So as I was perusing Hoopla, looking for a good suspense thriller, which are great, and I'm showing you how to look these up, because you can just go into Hoopla, go into movies, and go into categories. You can go into the category that you prefer. I happened upon this movie called The Owners, and I looked at the actors and director. I didn't know who any of these people were, but I did notice one name, which is Maisie Williams. And I was like, who is Maisie Williams? Well, she's Arya from Game of Thrones. She's a woman, no face, many faces lady. And Game of Thrones has been off for a few years, so we're happy that she's able to be working, and she was able to be in this movie called The Owners, which is an interesting film in itself. So this movie's about 1 hour and 32 minutes. It has a release date of 2020 on it. So I'm going to read you the description. I'm going to give you my takeaways from this film. So the description on Hoopla reads: a group of friends think they found the perfect easy score, an empty house with a safe full of cash. But when the elderly couple that lives there comes home early, the tables are suddenly turned. As a deadly game of cat and mouse ensues, the would-be thieves must fight to save themselves from a nightmare they could never imagine. All right, so I have 5 takeaways from this film. Number 1, the description is wrong. Let's just be real. In sentence 2, it says, but when the elderly couple that lives there comes home early. In the film, I'm not giving anything away, but I will say this: they waited for the elderly couple. They could have left. When I think of people coming home early, I think the show was canceled, or dinner was long, so they just came right back. They weren't out too long. They waited for them to come home. They sat there and waited. So that was totally, why would you do that, right? My point number 2. The movie was very predictable in a sense until the last 30 minutes or so. Then it took a left turn, and you're like, whoa, what's happening? But it was good. Point 3. And this is my personal mantra. And people here at the branch know that I will save myself in any situation. But I will go get help, because I have to live to tell the story. A lot of times people always have to go back for their friend. Man, somebody has to go get help, because sometimes going back will lead you to death. Now, sometimes going back will save both of you, but in movie signs, it's probably because it's a movie. Okay, so number 4. This was actually a cool little thing about the film. As the action happened, the screen got smaller, and so it makes you focus your attention into these particular spots. You couldn't go to the left, you couldn't go to the right. You had to focus in this spot. It's like, look at me, I am action, I am happening, look at me now. And so I appreciated that. I couldn't wonder. I had to look at what's happening and say, oh my gosh, it's happening. I had to watch it. Number 5. This is going to be controversial. Do not trust the elderly. Okay, I'm not saying not to trust your parents or your grandparents or aunts, uncles, or whoever else to trust with you. But in some cases, you just don't need to trust people, man. Just don't trust them. Don't trust the elderly. Don't do it. Just for this movie, okay? Just for this movie. All right, so Miss Shelly took the time to look at the movie The Owners, made in 2020, because we wanted to check out and see what Maisie Williams was up to. My girl from Game of Thrones. All right, so it was okay. It was cool. I enjoyed the film. It was something to do, and I think that it'll be something that you could do too. Now, of course, Hoopla videos check out for 3 days. So you're able to have this for 3 days. And you might want to watch it more than once. You can watch it as many times as you want to during those 3 days. And after that, it will return automatically, okay? So, that was my Hoopla movie. Was The Owners. All right, so of course, we miss you guys here at the library. We can't wait to see you. So just make sure you keep rocking your mask. Make sure you wash your hands or your hand sanitizer, and make sure you stay 6 feet apart. All right, so this has been Ms Shelly with the National Public Library, Bordeaux branch of Ms Shelly's Hoopla Pick, Fandom Edition. And I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace out.
Hi, it's Ms Magda from the Bordeaux Branch Library. And I know that there are some horror fans out there, y'all. Whether you identify as being a goth, emo, or just a connoisseur of bad horror movies, I have a spooky story for you. Molly O'Malley was going to have a baby. And her midwife, Geneva, was the only one there to keep her company because, you see, her husband, Brian, had to go miles away for a job. You can't help that when the time comes, it comes. And after hours of pain, Geneva finally caught a happy, healthy baby boy. The old woman cleaned them both up, tucked them into bed. Molly was exhausted, but she couldn't take her eyes off this beautiful child. She was so enchanted, she didn't even hear Geneva leave. Molly, she played with the baby, cooing at him, tickling his feet. She fed him and watched him sleep and then woke him up all over again so she could do it all again. She did that for days on end. He was the most amazing thing she had ever seen. And then she realized how thirsty and tired she really was. I mean, having a baby, y'all, is hard work. So carefully, she got out of bed and she laid the sleeping baby in his crib. She crept out the door, taking the bucket out to the creek to get a bit of water. She filled up the bucket and immediately dropped it because she heard the worst sound she had ever heard in her entire life. The scream filled the air like fingernails on a chalkboard. It reverberated up and down her spine, hitting that spot just at the back of her neck that she just couldn't reach. And she rushed back in the house just full of bad mother guilt. Oh, I shouldn't have left him. Oh, my little boy, I'm a terrible mother. He's never going to love me. She rushed over to the crib and she picked up the babe. She began to rock him back and forth, and he kept crying and she tried feeding him and he kept crying and she bounced him in the air and he kept crying and he just cried and cried and cried, reaching pitches that would break glass. Finally, the midwife Geneva returned to check on the new mother and the baby. She saw those dark circles underneath Molly's eyes, and she heard the weariness in her voice as she tried to sing the baby to sleep again. Here, child, let me take the babe. What did you name him? Oh, I haven't had him baptized yet. I was waiting until my husband got back. Not baptized and not named. That won't be good. Give him here. I bet you haven't slept a wink since I saw you last. Are you sure? I mean, I hate for you to go through any trouble. I mean, okay, here he is. I'm just gonna put you in there if you need anything. And she was asleep before her head hit the pillow. Geneva took the baby and she began to rock him back and forth, singing a lullaby. And soon his breathing became even, and she laid him down in his crib. And she figured she'd wait until Molly had a nice nap, and then she'd head home before dark. Suddenly, she heard a noise from the crib. When she turned, she saw a small hand rise up and grasp the railing firmly. And then another small hand joined it. The baby stood up and looked at her. He said, "That was a really lovely song. Do you know any others?" Geneva was so startled that she almost fell down, but she answered in a very calm voice, "Yes, I know a few more, but you have to lie down before I sing another note." The baby nodded and then lay back down in the crib. Geneva began to hum under her breath, bringing the melody louder as she walked over to the fire. As her song rose, she got the embers nice and hot, and then with a leap over to the crib, she grabbed the baby by one foot. Molly heard the commotion, came running to see what Geneva was doing, and saw her holding her child over the fire. "What are you doing? That's my baby! Don't hurt him!" "This is not your child. It's a fairy changeling. A Plintacow. Look at him. Look at it." And Molly looked at the thing in Geneva's hand. It was basically the size and shape of an infant, but grayish yellow skin and pointy ears, and then it had the audacity to wink at her. She almost fainted from fright. And as she watched, Geneva let go of the changeling's foot, but before he could touch the flames below, he shot up the chimney. And before Molly could mourn after her child, Geneva told her to go out and check by the creek, because the Fae always have to give something back. And there, next to her dropped bucket, was her own baby, wrapped in the nicest woven christening blanket you've ever seen. Suffice to say, Molly went to the priest first thing the next morning, and she named the baby Christopher Nathaniel. But when Brian returned, he got his own turn in naming the baby. And that, my friends, is the story of how Kit O'Malley came into the world. So, did your heart go a little bit faster? Did your breath shorten just a little bit? Is your adrenaline racing? That's exactly the thrill I was looking for, so go relish that. Relish it and appreciate how boring your life can really be, because you never know what might happen when the dark comes and the fairies come out to play. It's Ms Magda from the Bordeaux Branch Library, and I hope you'll enjoy this fantastic Fandom Fest we've got going on for you. Hope you get a nice scare out of it. See you next time.
Bye.